Practice makes perfect. Peace.
All right, let's go. How's it going, everybody?
Oh,
See, you're good, Smoke. Hello, intro. Our song "Practice Makes Perfect."
good
Man,
stuff, man. Good stuff.
that seems like so long ago already, doesn't it? Especially.
Oh my God, yeah. But then again, you know what they say, in today's days will seem time flies faster and all that stuff when you're having fun and all that. Personally, it's not a big believer in that, but I know a lot of people are, and it is
Oh,
what it is, man.
oh, sure. I hear you that way. Yeah. Um, let me see here. It says YouTube is having some kind of issue. Enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So that looks like that'll just be for on the viewer end. So let's see here. That should be okay. Once people pop in. Cool. But you're always writing, man. I just saw, even when I went to grab some links for stuff of yours,
hmm
you just always writing. Is that your thing? You just
Yeah, always, man. That's one of the things of what I do to like grow and everything. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that the first three albums or so that I put out, I had songs that were like old as hell that I had been writing for like about 2 years at that point to put everything out, which is why from about album four on, it's got a totally different vibe because at that point I've started to run dry and just actually have to on the spot, you know what I mean? Come up with stuff of what I'm talking about right as it happens. It's if you notice a lot of my albums stay very topical.
sure, definitely, definitely. It seems like there's always something going on though to write about now.
Yeah, no joke. No joke.
Let me see here. See if anyone's in the chat. No, that's really good. So I was going through some of your videos, and some of your first couple uploads are from like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Is that just when you started uploading, or is that when you were first recording and writing everything?
That was when I first started uploading. I first started recording about, the first album actually took the longest amount of time of any album that I've worked on, probably. It took, God, a couple months to put it
Oh,
all together and everything. But it was just getting used to a microphone. I mean, the entire first album, that's something that people don't realize either, is that until I think it's album three or number four, I don't have the microphone you see in front of me right now. I got that specifically for recording. So my first like two, maybe I think three albums
yeah.
are done on a tiny little webcam microphone that
Oh,
is fucking amazing,
oh my
man. Like
gosh.
I highly recommend it if you're trying to get that recording on a out of a cardboard box type vibe. It's
Sure.
definitely got that sort of sound to it.
That's awesome. That's where I'm at. I'm lucky anyone can make anything out of pretty much what's happening because yeah, I've got a little box cut out, a little bit of foam in it, and just yeah, all makeshift split screen. It's like a $60 Samsung Meteor mic. Nothing too crazy, USB. So yeah, nothing
No, I think
special.
it
But
sounds good, man. I think it sounds good. Your tone's really, really solid. I know a lot of people that
oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
don't get the basics for recording, and I've tried to help some people with that before because people have asked me of like, how do you get your sound? And it's funny because I
Oh,
don't consider myself good when it comes to like production quality because it's all me. It's me literally recording here in my freaking living room and trying to go from there. So it's not like I have soundproof walls or something. It's not like I have complete silence to record in. It's not like I have a perfect microphone, good editing software. I mean, I literally use Audacity because it's free and I
yes,
use a microphone. So yeah,
yeah.
it's everything what you see here is what you get, man.
That's awesome. No, I'm the same way where yeah, I even use Audacity and everything. Yeah, so it's I think that the music that we make is raw anyway. We're talking about raw, real topics. So to try and
Exactly.
yeah, make it sound fluffy or like the radio, it's like just not really how it's just gonna be. I would think. Let me see here, make sure it's all good still. So okay, so you'd been writing all that time for your start. And who were some of your early influences? Now I saw like you had a couple playlists where it's like Diesel Automatic, who's one that you recommended to me, Logic, Payday Monsanto, but not to answer for who are some of your early influences would you say when you were first?
Oh wow, for me, even before conscious hip hop or anything,
Yeah.
as a little kid, I'm talking like 2, 3 years old. I remember listening to stuff like Bobby Brown with my dad or
Okay.
Ice-T, because a lot of people have said, "Man, you can tell Ice-T is one of your influences." I'm like, "Well, it's goddamn right, dude. I've been listening to Ice-T since I was like 5 years old, man." So that's
Okay.
a lot of people don't come into the rap as an art form,
Yeah.
especially conscious hip hop, necessarily appreciating all the predecessors that have come before. And it's the sort of stuff that's very, very, very important when it comes to understanding where you fit in the culture, where you belong and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's awesome. I totally feel like standing on the backs of giants for most of the stuff. And there's tons of people that I could give you the names of that are guys you might have never heard of from like early and mid 90s rappers and stuff. Cause I totally used to, as a teenager, go balls out when it came to researching music in general. That was always my thing.
Oh,
And
sure.
so it's not just rap music for me. It's a lot more than just rap music, of like hardcore metal scene stuff, punk music, jazz, classical music, pretty much anything that you can think of there at some level, other than country music and a couple other things that I'm not
That's
so big on.
That's so funny. I'm the same way. Like, you know, and my wife's got me into some bluegrass, you know, and like,
Mhm.
but yeah, country music, it just isn't for me, you know, like.
Yeah, there's some all right stuff like Chris Stapleton or some stuff
Yes,
like that. That can be okay,
yes.
but I'm like, for the most part,
Songwriter,
not
good
my-
voice, but yeah, like
Yep.
all day. Do I want to listen to an album? No, but like
Yeah.
there's you know there's a couple songs like you know that I'm into. Yeah, no, that's so funny too. Metal. I've run the whole thing because my parents both listened into. My mom was like you're saying, like I'd get Bobby Brown, Milli Vanilli, and my dad was like Metallica, Megadeth, Zeppelin, Stones. So, hey, shout out to Tom in the chat if you can hear us. It's cool. And Cornerstone, yeah, who's been translating some of the songs for us. He translated Poison Control. So he's been translating the different languages and stuff, so people can check
That's
those
awesome.
out. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Kind of flattered. It's neat to see where people go with the music, you know, because like we do it, you know. I feel like because you're passionate or almost compelled to, right? You know, just
Oh yeah, for sure. For me, the being compelled with all this stuff was definitely born out of doing activism in general. Because at about, I think, 19 years old or so, I absolutely went balls out on the conspiracy rabbit hole and
okay,
police brutality stuff and everything, like alternative history, just went
sure,
all out there.
sure,
And at about 21 maybe, started a Facebook page, Two Real News, which I mean you can still see on my Facebook page and all that stuff.
yeah,
It only has like 200 subs or likes or follows or whatever
Two
though,
Real
but
News.
it's actually something that I've been doing for quite a while, just to push news activism stuff and to help kind of inform people. But it eventually evolved into me writing articles and everything, and doing just news articles myself and my own research, put my own links to it and everything. And eventually I got, how the hell did this work? It was really, really cool. There's a guy that I saw, if you ever listened to InfoWars, well, back in the day, but
Sure.
way before I fell out of love with Alex Jones and all this stuff, because nowadays I can't stand the guy. It's to me,
Right.
it's been the whole post-Trump bullshit dumb type tip. But
Yeah.
before that, there was a guy named Mikhail Thalen that worked at InfoWars, who they said was from Tacoma and whatnot. And I remember trying to look up an interview with him, found an interview with him with this guy named Pete Wickert from Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, which is a little tiny podcast radio show thing out of
Okay.
Chicago. And instantly fell in love with Pete's style, his show, all this stuff. And we started working together because I started trying to like promote his stuff, and I actually did booking for him for a while, because he has a lot of talent when it comes to being able to talk to the average person. And but he didn't have the most, I'm not trying to be a dick, didn't have the most skills when it comes to getting guests in
Sure.
general, because
Sure.
it is a pain in the dick. You have to write emails a very specific way.
Yeah.
You have to be very cordial when you're talking to people. You have to use somewhat flowery language and draw them in and all this. So I
Okay.
booked for him for God, like 60 guests, 70 guests, something like that. Everything from guys from InfoWars, guys that have been on Coast to Coast and all this shit. And then it
Oh,
kind of
sure.
evolved from there. I ended up doing an article on vaccines, got picked up by Dan Badondi from InfoWars slash Truth Radio Show and all that. He does his own thing now, I believe. I don't know if he's associated with InfoWars anymore, but he picked me up with that. And then that there's a couple things happened at once. This guy named Jason Boss, who's a former Google employee that used to live down in Oregon there, saw it and completely did exactly how I felt about Pete, totally felt the exact same way about me, and started helping me get set up, get my own website set up with tworealnews.com and everything. For about 3-4 years, I had a website. It was fucking amazing, man. It was a great feeling. It was stuff of like, you can still see some of it on the Way Back Machine or the Way Back Machine stuff.
Okay.
You can't see all of it, which is unfortunate because I had pages of stuff like all the different vaccine adjuvants and what those are, how those get into the vaccines and stuff, all the different food additives that are fucking potentially harmful and stuff, and what those are, where they come from, how they get into the food that you get and that you're eating and stuff. It's just that sort of shit I felt was really, really important for the average person. And then just putting out more news articles and whatnot. We ended up doing a podcast show called Two Real News for a while on at first it was Shake and Wake Radio, and then Media Broadcasting Center, which was like a Canadian podcast thing. It was great. Eventually, I just totally stepped out of it because of being tired of the way people aren't. How do I put this? People aren't consistent at all in their beliefs. A lot of people, even in the alternative media and in the independent media, are hypocrites. Are hypocrites as all get out, and I just couldn't do it. And it's nothing to do with Jason or anything like that, but it was just partly the producers and people that were picking our stuff up. Not a lot of people understand. I made a grand total of $0.00 during all of that stuff because all of it is voluntary. And it's the same thing with the rap music. People don't understand that it's like they think that for some reason you're getting a bunch of fucking money for all this stuff. And everything I put out the entire time I've done the activism thing and then started doing rap was it's all free because truth is supposed to be free. Words are supposed, especially true words that I'm sharing with somebody that I'm trying to help you and stuff, are supposed to be free. It's supposed to be like a service you're providing for somebody else. But most people look at me like I'm a fucking retard or something for doing this.
Right.
I mean, they already did anyways because, you know, conspiracy stuff and all this shit. So whatever, man.
No, I know. I hear where you're coming from, man, and you're so passionate. And I notice a lot of the vaccine parts too, and food and additives, all that stuff is laced throughout your lyrics too. You know, I feel like you're always, you know, dropping knowledge with people too. One thing I thought was so slick, and this is your whole verse on Rabbit Hole rhyme. The whole I thought that was so clever, like so slick. And it took me, I think by the second time I heard it, listened to it, is when I noticed it. I was like, holy, like you made the whole thing rhyme, man. You're so lyrical, clever, and you write, you know, you're welcome. You know, you write about so many different things, and that's great. And just like, man, the world around us, like, we'll be able to write forever. Probably.
Yeah, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. My God, man. But I got set up on all that. For me, the biggest influencers for conscious hip hop would be guys like that Remo Conscious, REMO Conscious.
Okay.
Amazing rapper from back in the day and whatnot. He's actually on the movie Loose Change on the documentary and stuff like that. He does the song Loose Change and a couple other things like that. He's really, really solid. Steve Grant was awesome. The rapper Genocide, the Bosnian guy, that dude is freaking amazing. A couple other ones. There was Immortal Technique, obviously, because I heard Immortal Technique before I was even, quote unquote, what I consider politically awake at all. And dude fucking revolutionized rap music for me. That's why I find it so appropriate. His first album is like Revolutionary Volume 1, because it is pretty goddamn revolutionary for the time.
Totally. Absolutely. And I myself too, like I started to stumble across more Immortal Technique, listening to, it was the Coca Nostra, and then Vinny Paz would pop up.
I love Everlast, man.
Yeah, dude, he's totally. That's why when you say Ice-T, Everlast is mine, and I know that's like the Rhyme Syndicate and all that stuff. So that's too funny, kind of the parallel right there. But so Vinny Paz a little bit, you know, dabbled in some conspiracy. He has a couple songs, but Immortal Technique for sure. Like he really hits it hard. You know, whether
definitely. I'm trying to think who else I got here. Low Key. If you ever heard the rapper Low Key,
Okay, yes.
British rapper, yeah, he is fucking awesome. He's got a song called Terrorist and a couple other ones like that that just totally
Sure.
deconstruct and shred the entire narrative. He does really good stuff for, in my opinion, trying to humanize the quote unquote other side of the Islamophobia debate thing of whether or not are the Muslims coming to get us type thing. He does a great job of
Sure.
humanizing it. And I think that's something that Immortal Technique does, even though I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that he talks about because I'm not a socialist. I'm not a super
Right.
left-wing person. I
Yeah.
still appreciate it because it puts a face to a lot of these struggles and stuff. And
Yeah.
it brings people together. And I think the same thing of humanizing quote unquote opposition is what we need to do more than anything else, because we realize that at the end of the day, the person that we're fucking screaming at and trying to struggle with and all this is just a person exactly like us.
Right. Right. Just like us, and they make mistakes. You
Yep.
know, so it's easy to sit back and judge and or critique, criticize, and say like, oh, well, how come they did that, or why would you do it that way, or why would you act like that in that moment like this? Is like, well, yeah, you're saying that now with a cool head and no consequences. Where when you're the
Exactly.
person in that spot, yeah, who's to say how you react? You know, so no, that's
Well, yeah,
so
it's the same thing. I've lyrics and songs and stuff. I don't try and hold it against other people for things like even like great example. I don't know how you feel on this, but religiously, I used to be super Christian, and I
sure.
put that out to a lot of people. It was in my music, it was in my activism, all this stuff, and
Hmm.
I am not anymore. And I try not to hold that against anybody at all because I'm in the exact same boat, man. And it's the same thing with like the Alex Jones stuff. The people that are still on the tip with all that.
Sure.
It's everybody's got to come from somewhere. Everybody's
Right.
got to learn something from somewhere. And it doesn't matter what sort of path you've taken to get here. All that matters is where you're going, man.
Yeah, totally. I agree 100% because yeah, for from who I am 5 years ago to now, you know what I mean. So
Oh,
yeah,
God, yeah.
you got to leave room for growth, and getting mad or upset or it's like that doesn't help the cause. If anything, it turns people off and it halts progress. Right? If you just get mad at people who are still in one mindset, it's like yeah, like you said, it's about the journey. They're on their way.
More than ever right now, it's a really important time to remember this because it's seeing people freak out all across the country and the world supposedly is
Yeah.
just it seems so contrived, man. Because as
Yeah.
somebody, and I know you're on the
Yeah.
same tip, of somebody that has been into police brutality, that has been into the police state, that has been into New World Orderism stuff
Yeah.
for a fucking minute, man. Seeing
Right.
people that you know for a fact, less than 4 months ago, could have given a shit about police brutality. Duncan Lemp was murdered in
Right.
bed next to his pregnant wife while sleeping.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. There was no giant protest around the country. There was no just outrage. It's
Right.
seeing how selective it is and seeing how extreme the reaction is part of what lets you know that they, quote unquote, the people that run all this shit are the
Yeah.
ones playing up people's emotions. And I notice anger and fear are super important to them. Without
Yes.
anger and fear, they can't
Yes.
keep everybody in that initial like snap sort of reaction where get away from me type stuff.
Right.
And that's what they feed on more than anything. And the average person, unfortunately, for the most part, is kind of playing right into it. And it's unfortunate, man. That's why if you notice, a lot of my newer music has been a lot less aggressive on most tracks and a
Yeah.
lot more about humanizing the struggle of being a human being and just getting up day after day and going through the same bullshit, man. Going to a
Right.
job you can't fucking stand, getting a paycheck, coming home, working your ass to the bone, and then getting to go to sleep for about 6 hours and wake up and do the same shit again over and
Yeah.
over and over. Because that's life, man. It's what most
For
of us
real.
go through. And
Yeah.
it feels it's just weird. It's just weird.
It is, and then that's so true. And I kind of noticed that with the vibe of your music too. Yeah, a little more chill, or the beats even. You know, the beats
Yeah.
aren't. Yeah, it's yeah. You're trying to set a nice mood, and I think it comes. I don't mean maturity, you know what I mean, but like as you kind of get into a different mindset too, you know, like I think there's a time to be like, okay, grab your pitchforks and grab your torches, but or it's like,
agreed.
hey, like okay, hunker down. You know, I think one of the things too, like when Trump won, man, that shook people up. And
Oh, yeah, it
I've
did.
never seen so many people care about politics. My wife who leans left. I'll say it that way. She is following this and so closely. I think a lot of people were in autopilot with Obama, so that's 8 years. And comedians had it made with George W. You know, so like
Yeah, for
everyone,
sure.
oh, he was like gold for the Daily Show and all that crap. You know, like so that was basically autopilot because you could just kind of tease them for talking funny and all this stuff. Ha ha
Yeah, not
ha.
bring up the actual stuff of substance. It's one
Yeah,
thing that I've 100% anybody that knows me, especially even since the days of high school and stuff, I've been consistently a critic of Obama and all those guys. Same way with Bush and whatnot, but of Obama and everything because of what he promised when he was on his election trail versus what he actually delivered. I mean, granted, he was a politician. He's a politician. Nothing changes with any of these guys. It's the same thing when Donald Trump, all these people are, he's going to
right,
put Hillary in jail and all this type of shit. I'm like, no, he's not, man. No,
right,
he's not. They're literally both butt buddies with Epstein. They are
right.
like the most monstrous people in the entire world. It's people acting like I was a
Yeah.
racist when I said Obama was a piece of shit for making
Mhm.
jokes about bombing the Jonas Brothers with fucking drone strikes. Not
Oh,
even
right.
like a year after killing, what was it, Anwar al-Awlaki, I believe is the kid's name, that
Yeah,
he blew up a 16-year-old kid at his birthday party, fucking blew
yeah,
him to pieces and stuff, and all his little friends and everything. Yeah, it's real
right.
funny. It's real funny. It's hilarious. And all these people, man, I miss Obama. I'm like, I don't think most people have a track record or an ability to discern because it's the same
Right.
thing with Donald Trump. You notice that as somebody that's active in the truther quote unquote community, you've
Yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that Donald Trump shit schism crack right down the center, man. And there are
yeah.
people that will literally go to die for that motherfucker right now because
Right.
no matter what he says, no matter what he does, there are people that just like, what the president's fine, he can say anything he wants to say, he's trying to make America great. It's the same shit as the Obama defenders, and I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing if Biden gets elected as the Biden defenders, which sorry, I threw up in my mouth a little bit at the thought of that.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Jesus.
It's like I'm not a Trumper or anything like that, but like
Yeah.
Biden, like come on, like Democrats, you got to put someone else up, and they keep
Yeah, man.
kneecapping Bernie. I'm not a feel the burn guy, but do you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, no, me neither. But I totally get it. For the average
Yeah.
person, when it comes to Democrat stuff, I'll never forget that with the 2016 election too.
Yeah.
I saw Trump stickers everywhere, Trump signs everywhere. I
Mhm.
saw a lot of Bernie Sanders stickers
Yeah.
and signs all over the place. But I only saw it at one time when my fiance and I were driving through Seattle to go up to visit one of her friends in northern Washington. That was the only place I saw Hillary stickers,
Yeah.
which tells you she only canvassed in major U.S. cities. And she literally is famous for calling like the entire Midwest flyover states. I'm like, how the fuck do you plan to win an election with that kind of attitude? It's
Right.
It's the same thing when I don't have to be a fan of Donald Trump or anything like that to recognize
Right.
that the Democratic Party is throwing out shit. Just
Yeah.
crap, man. The Biden ads are some of the cringiest shit.
Oh
Like,
my god. Yeah.
hi there, I'm Joe Biden, and I'm like, what the fuck is that, man?
Right.
You're gonna have this guy on a debate platform against Donald Trump, who's gonna tear him up,
Right.
dude? It's gonna be funny to watch, and I say that as somebody
Totally.
that hates Donald Trump, dude. But it's like this is gonna be like bullying an
Yeah.
old man with brain damage. That's what it's gonna be, and it's
Right.
fucking,
Right.
like I say in the song, it's two rich
Damage.
old pedophiles fighting for presidency, man. Because Biden
so
is a
funny.
creep. Biden's a mad
Yeah.
creep. You don't have to be super politically aware to like get the creep vibes off of him, to watch him like on the videos sniffing little kids and trying to go in and like rub on all these fucking guys' wives and stuff. He's a fucking weirdo. But Donald Trump is also the guy that said he'd bang his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. So I mean, and he's also Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. I mean, he likes him a little bit on the young side, younger than I do. I mean, who doesn't? But it's like, dude, what the fuck? Who says that?
Right.
Who says that? I mean, other than a creepy fucking child molester, billionaire loser. But that's apparently what people are okay with in this fucking country, man.
Right, for sure. Here's I don't mean to be they're asking for links to your YouTube channel, so I'm just dropping that real quick. That link.
Cool.
Get some people.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Get that love that way. So let's.
If you're ever curious as to why it's stone deaf banned or any of that, because I can change it now to like smoke conscious hip hop or something. I think it was some arbitrary line of like 1,000 subs or 100,000 views or some crap that I had to reach before I could change the YouTube like
URL?
the vanity name thing.
Yeah,
the
vanity.
URL.
Yeah.
Because I know you have something similar to that or whatever. It's like, what is it like?
Matty
Matty
Boner.
Yeah, Matty
Oh my
Boner.
God.
Yeah.
So that was a whole.
No, I get it.
That was Google, because Google bought YouTube, and then I'm trying to log in as Mr. Matty Moses, and they're like, that account's already taken. It's like, I'm the account that's already taken. Like, let me into my account. Like, I was so frustrated. I was like, you know what? Boom, Matty Boner, and now here I am. So
for me it was because in high school I was part of a band called Stone Deaf that is it trash music overall because have never been that great of a musician. Play guitar occasionally and used to play guitar way more seriously. It's just meh music versus like decent rap because I've been doing poetry since I was like 10 years old, something like that, for like 17 years. So it's rap music became a very natural evolution from my love of rap, my love of activism, and my love of poetry instantly became like, oh, conscious hip hop, man. Conscious hip hop it's where it's at. That Logic guy is, despite a lot of stuff I disagree with him on, that what I call him UK Logic, because there's US Logic. Sure. Some people call it like White Logic or Black Logic, but I'm like, what? I just don't like the way that sounds.
Right,
but,
I hear you.
I think that dude has some absolute gold and is one of those guys that like fully brought me into the idea of conscious hip hop. Diesel Automatic though is the one that the second I heard him, I'm like, and no shade on the dude when I say this, but when I heard him, I was like, if this guy can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, like that part of motivation, right? Or like the way they do it, right? Whether it's the beats or leasing beats or buying me, it's like, hey, you know what? Like I got something I'm trying to say. Like I almost to touch on what you're talking about earlier is like no money. I've made no money from it. I think because I can put some stuff on Spotify, some of the Moses and the Hermit stuff. So $9 is sitting in that account. It's not even enough to withdraw.
Rich,
do you know
man.
what I mean? Like,
Get rich.
Yeah, balling, man, shilling for the truth, dog. But it's just like, there's not money in it. And then if you try, like, okay, I just made some shirts for like We Do Not Consent, not trying to, not even push them. But it's like, like, then people start to have a problem with it. It's like it's just if you want. It's not snake oil.
Exactly.
It's not. I don't have a magic face cream. It's a shirt. If you want to wear the shirt, don't buy the shirt. It's just
like the album I put out with Eric, Spirit Level and all that. It's completely free for anybody that wants it, but he has some stuff of that you can buy, like the high quality versions of the tracks or whatever if you want them for like personal download and all that. But you can download it all for free off of YouTube with like a ripper or something like that. You just rip it off online. You know what I mean? It's totally free. That's what I do with all my music, and people keep asking me like, "Where do I download your music for free?" And I'm like, "You can just steal it online." I'm like, "I'm just saying, y'all ain't stealing shit from the internet. I've been doing that for a minute, dog.
I know, right?
On, dude.
I know.
Step the fuck up.
I know. As soon as I could, because all of a sudden everything was singles, CD singles and stuff. And it's like I'm not paying $14 for a CD for one song, And then the internet changed all that, but I'm still not sold like the streaming services. Like I think Men on the Moon has 3,000 spins or 4,000. It's like, well, what does that mean to me? It's good for my ego, I guess. Like, oh, people are listening to it.
Exactly. That's the shit I noticed with all this stuff. Also, there's one thing, I don't know if it's Spotify, but there was and it's something I wanted to bring up on here, is that a lot of the artists, even people that we were just talking about, are like great influences for rap. Another one, K Reno.
Oh yeah,
K Reno for sure, like 100%, dude. I disagree with that guy on all sorts of shit, but he is still like legendary in the conscious hip hop community because he's got some like 40 albums or some fucking crazy shit. Yeah. After like only 20 plus years of rapping, I think he's only been rapping for like 25 years, but has like 40 albums. It's like, holy crap, man!
Right, dude, that's nuts. Yeah.
Oof. Oof.
No, thank you. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna try, man. And that's what
you're
people
close.
have been saying. You're like, you're gunning for him or whatever. But I've also, and this is something again, like no shade on him at all with this, but there are times that I notice that dude puts out like 7 albums in a year. That if he put out 3 in a year, they would be fire. That every single song on it would be fire. And it's not that his verses are ever bad. It's just that he does something that I've noticed that I would have a problem with if I put out more music. Is the beats start to suffer. You have to start picking suboptimal beats of stuff that you normally wouldn't rap to, but I need to fucking rap this song. I wrote this entire like 64 here. I got to fucking rap it to something. So I'll take this beat. And so I noticed he has that. And a lot of people that push themselves will have that. It's something that I have never compromised on. I will occasionally choose different kinds of beats. Like if you notice this album, I have, oh my God, what's the name of the song? One that's a little bit more like trap rap kind of shit, like Synthetic Perception and stuff like that has kind of a different sort of more modern day rap type vibe. But I only do that to specifically prove a point on a certain kind of song and stuff like, because the whole point of Synthetic Perception was something that sounded kind of fakey. And so the beat sounds kind of fakey and the lyrics are all about being a fake fuck. Everything is just, it seemed appropriate because I'm so tired of seeing on the recommended shit for YouTube and everything at the absolute worst fucking trash music I have ever heard. And they're like, I'm dead serious. I'm talking music that makes country music seem preferable. The shitty trap, what is it, Cardi B? Of all, it's like, got my pussy on the chain wax. Like, you're like, dude, just stop. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah. What would your mom think?
Yeah, fuck, dude. I don't want to sound like an old man, but like, my God, what the hell, dude? What the hell? But then again, that shit's normal. People that I know for a fact, guys I know in my own personal life, like my god brother Rogier, love him to death, but he is one of those guys that he wants to feel the Jay-Z mentality, and that since the time he was a kid, he's about like 10 years older than me, but since the time he's a little kid, for him everything's Jay-Z, right? So this motherfucker is still fronting about Lamborghinis and Bugattis and all this shit, and I'm like, I literally know that you work it like a fucking Jack in the Box, man. You drive like a fucking goddamn Kia Rio, and you're talking about fucking like, got my new fucking Lambo and shit. No, you don't. No, you don't. You ain't got bitches like down the block. You have a fucking like one baby mama and like a fucking like a fiance and shit, and you're like, got all these hoes in the hood. I'm like, no, I hate that shit so fucking much. It's one of the things that if you want to be on a tip, at least be real. It's something that I don't care for most stuff like Too Short or whatever, but at least he's real and he's consistent on it. Like guys that are all about weed music. Dude, I'm a huge fan of Cypress Hill. If you notice, 90% of those guys' shit is about smoking weed, which is at very least something they know. And at one point, those guys were some like actual for real gangbangers and shit. So like, at very least, if they're talking about it, it's not completely hokey. It's the same thing as somebody like a Tupac or fucking Ice-T or whatever like that, where it's just, at least when they're saying this shit, you know that they mean it. I don't know about more modern Ice-T, because more modern Ice-T, I'm like, I heard one of his albums is called Gangster Rap. It's fucking terrible. It's like him and Coco naked on the cover. It's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible. It is so bad. But then again, the new Cypress, I heard that, and I was crazy disappointed though. What was it? Something Gypsies or some crap like that. Like, it was just
It's so tough because can you rehash when you're on one specific topic, like I don't know, they just need to rap about dabs, I guess, or something now. Change it up a little bit.
Well, there are only so many times you can rap about blunts before the blunts get kind of fucking faded.
Exactly. I like that. No, that's really good too, because that's kind of early influences. And I was thinking like recent influences, like, or who's someone you, or not even influence, like who you listen to now? Who's a couple of people?
Conscious hip hop a lot, and just kind of an insular thing. Also, this is gonna sound super arrogant, but I listen to my own rap music too, dude. Because I literally make music for me as much as anyone else. It's something I literally say it in one of the songs of everything I say to you, I'm saying to myself, because it's like, it's for me, it's for my fiance, it's for my friends, it's for my associates in the fucking conscious hip hop community and stuff. It's to push the envelope forward and to try and also help people have a place to be able to find music that helps revalidate their worldview that's not trash. Because if you want to revalidate a worldview that is absolute fucking trash, you can find it. You can find it en masse. You can find it anywhere that you want to. You can find stuff that's like, I'm the biggest victim in the world. You can find stuff that's there's no hope to anything. Life is the most hopeless fucking piece of shit existence ever. You can find stuff that reaffirms your idea of money. It's all it's about. You can find stuff that reaffirms your worldview of like the fucking MGTOW thing of like all women are bitches and skanks and stuff like. You can find that shit everywhere. But music that actually tells you something that's like so simple as the song Enemy, one of my favorite songs I've ever done, of like is the person that you look in the mirror and you see, is that your enemy? And it is it's 100%. The biggest enemy you have is you. And you trying to make yourself a better person is exactly what you need to be working on every single day, because your biggest opponent, your biggest competitor with any of this is you.
No, I think that's a really good point. I like that a lot too. And there's the music for everything. I think I was almost exclusively listening to grunge music, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, me too. I love that shit.
Yeah, I love it. And then, but I have to break out of that mindset. It is easy to have like the self-pity or like kind of, or apathy and just like not care about other stuff. And then death metal, black metal,
Oh God, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
totally.
That was
dude.
teenage edgy boy Seth type stuff.
Yeah.
Just fucking like everything is brutal, death, death, death.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit would be like Death Clock, Venom,
Yep.
Slayer, that kind of shit,
Yes.
man. That was my jam, dude.
Yes, for sure. And it's like those are relatable emotions, and there's a whole range of emotions to have, especially when you're trying to find yourself or your identity. So no, I did. Yeah, the conscious hip hop helps a lot. I was lucky to find, because like Public Enemy was on my radar. So I was aware of it. Rage Against the Machine. Nu metal had some of it in there, So
I'm so disappointed that as a genre got absolutely fucking tanked. I think it's definitely a great example of the powers that be wanting to further subdivide people, because nu metal brought together the hip hop crowd and the metal crowd 100%. So you have like middle class and lower middle class, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American people all across the board, all united with a similar angsty fucking teenage boy vibe of like, let's burn shit.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it, man. I still love it as a genre. It's just now it's become really popular to crap all over it. About it's those losers with stuff like Limp Bizkit and stuff like that.
Right,
like, honestly, y'all were on the dick, guys like Limp Bizkit, like a motherfucker in the early 2000s, but all of a sudden now it's no longer popular. But whatever.
Oh, totally. Like even Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water is a solid album.
Exactly.
Like that's a good album. Like, but that is when people turned on them, and I think some of it's the Fred Durst antics. I think once you know,
it's 100% Fred Durst antics.
Yeah,
he's a fucking meme of a human being.
Yeah, and that totally sets it off. Like because Korn never really did that. Jonathan Davis never. He almost his personality. It always seemed like he stuck with that. It never got his head never got too big. So to speak.
Oh, there's a reason Korn's still around and still puts out music, man.
Yeah, and that's a great way to word that too. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, definitely. No, it was a good way to bring everyone together. Yeah, it's neat. Yeah, new.
Well, I noticed music-wise and stuff. One of the big ones for me of occasionally trying to break out of the doldrums and depression type mentality shit, and this might seem kind of cheesy, but as somebody that grew up with rap music and all that, I actually went into most of the samples that these people were using for all their rap music. And so I listened to old school funk music, like dance music, like 1970s and 80s dance music, even including some disco, not most disco, because most disco is kind of crappy, like poppy radio stuff. But there is some disco that's technically something you would consider disco that is really, really good. I noticed most people that don't like dance music and disco and all that kind of shit are people that can't dance. I can't
that's a
dance
good point.
very well, but also I'm somebody that's never given a shit because I'd rather have fun than just be one of those wallflower motherfuckers that are just like, I don't want you, because that shit makes you look so much worse.
It does. It's like you may as well just go out there and live it up and just have fun. And definitely, that's all.
It's like the karaoke thing, man. It's
totally
for me. I've always hated my voice. A lot of people, they're like, Seth, why don't you sing on stuff? Personally, it's never worked for me. If I get drunk, I'll always try. But at the same time, I'm one of those guys that, unlike Payday Monsanto and a lot of people that love to sing on their music, I can't. I have like one song where I almost do like some sing rap type shit, but I can't. I fucking hate how it sounds.
I know, dude. I love the song "Break the Chain," and I got my wife to sing some of it too. And that's where I got the sample from the Fleetwood Mac. "Break the Chain." And like, that's so cool. And like, I'll sing the guy parts, like husband and wife. I'll do that part. Yeah, I'm just like, this is not good. This is not good. Like, I don't like it, and let alone I didn't get it like mixed and mastered by anyone else. I just like threw some compression, a little bit of reverb, and was like, okay. It's like, I should not have done that.
And every time you listen to it as you're working on it, you're just like, I hate it. I hate it more, dude. No, I totally feel it. There are songs that I've never released because of that exact thing. Not even singing, just I don't like how my cadence flows on it. I don't like how it works, because I don't like how the background music works with my voice trying to like cut through it, because there's certain beats that like I have a really bassy voice and it doesn't work out super hot when I try and remix stuff like to beats that have really, really aggressive mids. I notice it can have bass and it can have treble, but like mids absolutely fucking punch my voice in the throat, and I hate it.
Oh, sure. No, that's You have a unique voice, man. It stands very
Thanks,
velvety.
man. I've had a lot of people tell me like, you don't sound like you do on the fucking on the records or whatever when you're talking in person. I'm like, can you imagine if all I tried to talk like was this all the fucking time? You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
Right.
sound like a fucking autismo or some shit,
Yeah.
man. It's like a
Right.
fucking weirdo. People be like, it's
Yeah.
like DMX. You think that motherfucker walks around all the time like arf arf? Like, get real, dude. Get
Yeah,
real.
he probably doesn't. He might, but he probably doesn't. No, no, that's so true. Yeah, yeah. You do got to find your own voice or your
For sure.
something, because yeah, mine's similar. I've found I've been able to have more inflection if I sit and record like this. Then it's like, oh, I can kind of get a little more into it. When I try to stand, I don't know what it is. Like I come out monotone. I've recorded by my buddy DMO, his house, and he's got like the legit setup and everything like that. But yeah, I just sometimes a lot of that Moses and the Hermit stuff. I listen to my own music, like you were saying earlier, because it's to critiquing. It's like, okay, what could I do better? How could I write? How could I be?
And what
listen
you
to it.
liked and what you
Yeah,
liked, how to be able to like, okay, I got that. How do I build on that, but not do the same thing again? Because I don't want to just be a one trick pony, but like
right.
also you're building your own style. And I notice if people would do that more often,
Mm-hmm.
dude, that you grow as an artist, you get better and all this stuff. I noticed
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if we're talking rap music or just music in general. Like there are a
yeah,
lot of musicians that have very similar sort of things of they'll push in just one direction just because they're like, oh, I want to do something completely different. But in reality, you need to harbor a particular sound and nurture it and literally create it and grow it and make it better and more refined and stuff over time. A great example is that
yeah,
Everlast,
yeah,
100%. No
yeah.
matter how much people try and like diss on him because, well, he does the same kind of music. He doesn't do the exact same kind of music. He does a
Right.
more mature version of the music he's always done. And that shit's fucking cool, dude. I
Yeah.
wish 90% of artists did that kind of stuff instead of
Right.
just completely selling out to go pop or to go a totally different genre that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I felt that way with like Disturbed even did that. With each album kind
Agreed.
of had its own sound.
Yep.
And Godsmack a little bit too. Because I got a
Oh,
buddy.
early Godsmack, man. Early Godsmack is fucking amazing. Like
Yeah.
those first 3 or 4 albums are
Yes.
like, oh my god.
Totally. Yes. Yes. Yeah. The fourth one is when it started to kind of okay, like
Yep.
now we can see what the record deal was. Like
Exactly.
okay, you have to crank out the music, but yeah, like those first three are solid. But yeah, Everlast's a great example too. To imagine from his song "Fuck Everybody" to where he is now. So no, that's great. And yeah, as your life changed, you rap about different stuff, right? Like even the La Coca Nostra stuff, I can take it in its moment for what it's worth. A lot of the gang stuff or the
Oh yeah, it's not
almost
nearly as
like, yeah,
conscious hip hop as a lot of people try and make it seem, but it's still
right.
got bits and pieces there. And I appreciate that for what it is. It's why when you said of like influence type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it wasn't guys like La Coca Nostra or groups like La Coca Nostra or
Right.
Demigods with a Z or like Army of the Pharaohs or any of that because like I appreciate those guys for what they are, or the rapper Apathy or anything. I appreciate them for what they are, but I genuinely dislike how people will try and like shoehorn them in to the genre of conscious hip hop because they're not.
Right.
They have little kernels of truth and stuff in there and things to make you think, but
Yeah.
they are definitely very traditional kind of gangster rapish type stuff,
It
which
is.
honestly, if you've kept up with gangster rap as long as I have, and if, from what you're saying, you definitely fucking have, and you're older than me, so I'm assuming you've gotten kind of
Yeah.
tired of the same hackneyed
Yeah.
fucking rhymes about how I'm gonna stick your hand in a blender or some shit. Like I don't
Yeah.
care, man.
Right. It's like it's just cartoonish now. It's like, dude, I'm over it. Like you're almost saying with the I'm not 19 and angry.
Yep.
It's like dude, I'm
Exactly.
34, married with kids. Like,
Well,
like
yeah, I can have that anger, but it's more
yeah.
like a white hot coal of hatred that exists in my soul that every single day I've seen.
Yeah.
Not the stupid little boy shit of, I want to
Yeah.
get mad, burn some stuff. More
Yeah.
like, I want to watch everything fucking burn slowly
Yeah. Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, slow. Yeah, I want to be able to appreciate.
Oh, dude, the fucking ODD song thing. I want to piss on a note, bank note. Like, what is it? I want to grab a stack of bank notes, piss on them, and shove them down George Bush's throat. Watch his
Yeah.
ass choke. That
Yeah.
kind of shit. With that
Yes.
100%. That's the
Yes.
kind of fucking angry vibe I got. Not some stupid ass like little boy shit of like, you better respect me or I'll pull out a gun. And, like,
Right.
just,
Right.
oh my god.
Totally.
So tired of murder rap. So tired of fucking like,
Yes.
I've got a million guns and like
Yeah.
just so lame. So lame.
I know, dude. I am totally over it too, and like you're saying, it's not shade, but there's a Scribble, Mad Child. I don't know.
Yep,
Like,
those guys.
yeah, it's
I
like
again, Snack the Ripper, that kind of shit. There's stuff
yeah.
that I can appreciate, but
Mhm.
it's still like, eh, meh. Because as a grown ass fucking man, I've been listening to rap music since I was a tot, dude. The '90s are gone. It's over. It's fucking over. The early 2000s are gone. It's over. You can rap about whatever the fuck you want to rap about now, man. If you want to rap like that, great. If you want to be what is it, Necro or one of those dudes that has like whole things about superhero rap and shit,
Yep,
great.
yep.
If
I was
that's
just
what you
gonna,
want to
yeah,
do,
Necro.
cool.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that kind of shit, great, awesome, love
Yeah.
it. But not really my thing. But
Mhm.
again, it's still better than the same shit people have done a million times over. I'd
Yeah.
rather hear somebody do again, not the biggest fan, but I'd rather hear somebody do like MF Doom stuff.
Oh, sure.
That fucking just wordplay for wordplay's sake, if you're gonna go that route. But even then, I've started to get
Right.
kind of tired of all that kind of shit too, because I like rhymes that mean something. I like it when you give me a peek into your soul, into
Yeah.
your existence, into what it is to be Matty Moses on the daily basis type stuff. That kind of shit
Oh, sure,
literally
sure.
resonates with my soul way more than here's some shit I wanted to put together just because it's right. Like my articulate intricateness of meticulousness of like that kind of just
Right.
meh.
Yeah. It's borderline the like Sugar Hill Gang, like to the hip
Yep.
hot rippity rap.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
it's
honestly,
like how you
I
rip.
can't stand that shit. I
Yeah.
can't stand that shit.
Yeah.
That's one. It's weird because I love old school rap music,
Sure.
but I cannot fucking stand that OG generation of like true OG rappers, other than guys like Blowfly and a couple others, and it's mostly just because Blowfly was fresh for the time. His rhymes are cheesy as fuck, like 1, 2, fuck you kind of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like party rap type shit. It's just very cheesy, but it's still it's better than the fucking the Sugar Hill Gang stuff or the Curtis Blow is another great example of Sugar Hill Gang type stuff of Grandmaster Flash. They have a message. I think the message is great. 90% of their other stuff I've heard is just that same rapper like this, do it like that, hit you in the face with a baseball bat.
Yeah. I know, like, cause I catch a lot of flack, like I don't rhyme on beat, or I do, it's a little bit different, but it's like, yeah, do you want me to just go every time, measures of 4, da 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 da, like I'm not just gonna be that way. I'm gonna rhyme over, I'm gonna catch up, because that's us listening to metal and other genres of music, right? So like I'm just gonna come in where I come in. I try to time it, I try to have different cadence or all different kinds of things in there too.
Oh God, pushing yourself is one of the best things when it comes to that, though, of being able to make it go on the beat, but also have way more to say in that one line than 90% of people would be able to say ever. It's one thing that I will always give mad credit to Beast 1333 on that one.
Sure.
Because he is, for that kind of shit, of being able to have a single line, this is just a single bar, and motherfucker has like 16 words in that bar. Yeah. And like, holy crap, man. Like that kind of shit is where you start being able to fully enunciate thoughts. Like 100% of like, I can give you like a step-by-step process of my experience going through a day, going through something. For me, another one of those influences is definitely Atmosphere. I would fully consider it conscious hip-hop, but he is like Slug is fucking amazing when it comes to that. He's one of those guys that originally just totally opened my eyes to the idea that I can just rap about real life, dude. I can rap about sitting in a car, like loathing the idea of going to drive to work before the sun's risen and it's fucking cold outside. My car has a hard time starting. It just, fuck, I hate my work. I hate the people I work with. I want to just fucking go drive into a ditch somewhere. But at the same time, it's life, getting through the struggle. It's what I got to do. And that kind of music, that's fucking great, man, because that's old school blues music brought up into a modern day medium. And that's the kind of shit that sparks people's interest and changes people's minds and stuff. And I feel like the average person's idea of what rap music has to be, because it's been portrayed to them as thus, is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. There are people that think that gangster rap is rap, and it's fucking laughable.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to word it, because I think that's when people are like, oh, rap without the C, or rap blah blah, or it's like yeah, you have one thing in your mind. You might be picturing Nelly. You might be picturing, it's like that's not.
Oh God, yeah.
Like that's not what it is. It's we just it's an art form. Yeah, it's you almost like conscious hip hop or hip.
Well, and
like
as
with
the
the
white
message.
rapper, you have to instantly break the stigma of the Eminem wigger bullshit
Right.
type thing, and I fucking hate
Totally.
that, dude. I hate that. It's weird because again, I have
Yeah.
people in my family and friends circle that 100% are like, oh yeah, that makes sense that you do rap music and stuff, Seth. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay. And then other people are like, what? You're some sort of white rapper? What are you, like a wigger or something? And it's just like, oh my god. What
Right.
the fuck, man? There's
Yeah.
speaking of the wiggery type stuff, my friend Pete, one of his girlfriends actually told me at one point that like, man, you don't sound white. Are you Pete? Are you sure this guy's white? He doesn't sound white. He sounds black or at least some kind of Mexican. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? You don't. You sound black or at least some kind of Mexican. What the fuck are kinds of Mexicans?
Yeah, kind of.
Like
I don't know.
Panamanian Mexicans, Costa Rican Mexicans. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that? Who says
Yeah.
that, man? And that lady was black, which is what makes it even better. That's the kind of shit that I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
If you're black, you should know that not all black people talking down like this. All black guys, sound like that when they're talking.
Right.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
Oh, he
It's
sounds
so
Aztec.
crazy.
Wait,
It's
what?
so crazy.
Yeah. No, it is
If I'm
tough.
white, I'm supposed to sound like this, like
Yeah.
what the fuck is that?
Yeah. I think ODD got that a lot too, because he didn't show his, face for the longest time. He'd have his
Yeah.
documentaries, he's got a deep voice too, and then raps, and then people,
Really
yeah.
do it.
That's
That
all-
exact thing is people act like you're a fucking weirdo or some shit because you're just like, what? You're a white rapper, which instantly has that
Yeah.
connotation too of
Yeah.
like just that I have to try way harder than anyone else to be good because I mean it's not my community and I'm like fuck you, dude. I was literally born into the fucking rap community. Y'all can get
Yeah.
fucked with that noise.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's setting up another system, if you're trying to break down systemic racism, it's like create a new one isn't helpful either. It's like, oh well,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like this or that. It's like, okay, yes, like you said, it's about the knowledge of the history of the art, right? So like Ice-T and having the people that you like, but it's like, yeah, I don't listen to EPDM or EPMD on my way to work. It's like I'm trying to listen to new shit, like you said, conscious stuff, new stuff, like trying to discover new people. Dangerous was another one I came across too. I like him, but it's DANE, Dangerous.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There's so much, and that's what's so great is like we have ways to discover all these new people, all these different artists, or they're
Really
not
talented
new.
artists.
Yeah,
Really talented. In some cases not so new, but in other cases
yeah,
relatively new, but there's still guys
Yeah.
at times like Optimistic. It's
Yeah.
another one for
Oh,
sure.
Optimistic's
I really like
great,
this
yeah.
stuff. Your Poison
Yeah.
Control was fucking awesome. Dude.
Oh,
I think that's
thanks,
one of your
man.
best for sure.
Oh,
Like,
thank
because
you.
that was just the editing and everything on that, or the way like the clips and stuff works together. It's fucking great.
Oh,
Also,
thank
that
you.
the sample, the poison
Oh.
control, like that shit is fire, dude. I
Oh,
love that
thank
kind
you.
of stuff.
Oh, that means a lot. Thank you so much. Like to take it from its infancy, and then Optimistic put his own spin on it. But yeah, that Poison. I was like, I wanted to sample Poison, but it's like
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything clean. I couldn't find acapella. I'm just like, I'll do it myself. And then he put the effects on it. But yeah, that was fun. And no, it's the samples. I got lucky with Anomaly. He had just a chat of it about the food we eat and stuff. And then that Steven Drucker one. Yeah, he was kind of on my radar, so thanks, man. No, that's really cool.
Oh, you're really welcome, dude. Any other questions we got here?
This is what about what is like your favorite conspiracy, or what recent conspiracy is on your radar? Like, what do you mostly like?
Oh, wow, that's for me probably the most important conspiracy, and some people kind of laugh because it ties in with flat earth, but I'm not going to say that my most important conspiracy would even be flat earth. It's
Okay.
your position in the universe around you and the idea of a god, the idea of a creator that doesn't have to be Christianity or Judaism or Islam or any of these ists and isms, but the
Sure.
idea that there can be a god, the idea that humanity has a purpose, that literally creation exists around you, that you're not some speck of infinitesimal nothingness through the vastness of empty ever expanding space or
Yeah.
whatever. Like that kind of mentality makes you that big, just that big, little tiny nothing.
Right,
And
right.
that mentality is what fosters the exact shit we're seeing right now culturally. And the exact antithesis of that is the belief of the generative principle, the idea of birth, life, death, and rebirth. It's something like all these sort of things is sort of stuff that when you start researching masonry and the people that actually run the fucking show and all the occultism stuff that they practice between one another, you don't obviously take it all hook, line, and sinker and just, because then you're literally acting like a pseudo Freemason or some shit.
Right.
Seeing what they actually say and what they believe and all this type of stuff, that is one of the things that comes into it every single time, is realizing with their idea of the grand architect of the universe, or Gautu, or whatever the fuck, is that there is a God, regardless of what you call God. God doesn't have to be man, woman, whatever, like some bullshit name, a bunch of letters to make a tetragrammaton or some shit. Doesn't have to be any of that. God is just God. God exists. We exist. Life has always existed and will always continue to exist. If you notice, the tiny little speck of nothing mentality creates all this existential fear of the meteor's going to come, the comets are going to come and kill us, the global warming's going to kill us, the volcanoes are going to kill us, just fill in the blank.
Acid rain,
the murder hornets are going to get us now.
Hornets,
that
God,
kind of shit. It goes on forever and ever and ever, and it's all this just fear in everything they have. Fear. And I've decided that my music has to be the antithesis of that. And so I'd say that is the biggest conspiracy, in my opinion, or my favorite quote unquote conspiracy, is you matter. And that's why the song You Matter with Dubé, even though it's like our least popular song, for me is 100% probably my favorite song. I would say is my favorite song that I've done with him, just because of the very message of what it is. Because I did it ironically, because the whole sample for it is this guy talking like, I am nothing, I am no one, I am nowhere, and all this shit. And so literally I just had to do the antithesis of that. You are someone, you have a purpose, you matter, because I see that in everybody and everything, and all this stuff where they feel disempowered, they feel weak. And so people do all this kind of stuff to no longer feel weak, to no longer feel disempowered. And in some cases, it's wearing the mask and following the regulations and rules of the state, because and trying to tell other people, you follow the rules and stuff, because that makes them feel empowered, because it makes them feel like they're a part of the control grid, when in reality, they're completely disempowered. It's people will do stuff like, mutilate themselves and mangle themselves. Not trying to get you demonetized here on the YouTube.
No, it's all good. I'm not monetized. I was trying to find your video really quick to throw in the comments, but no, keep going. I don't mean to distract you.
You're cool. We're just, people do everything of mutilate themselves physically, of like, I am this, God got me wrong when I was born in the womb or whatever. We have people mutilate themselves, dude, stuff of the unhappiness of, I'm going to paint my skin with a fake tan and pretend to be black now, like Rachel Dolezal. I'm going to join a cult group. It doesn't matter if we're talking like white supremacist Klan bullshit or black supremacist fucking the Black Israelites or the Hebrew Israelites. That kind of shit. It doesn't matter which of those groups you're joining or anything, because it's all self-destructive. It's all destroying you as a person. Rather than being an individual, all these people try and fucking identify themselves with the quickest group. They try and act out in ways that are destroying themselves. It's why on one of the songs that I got on the last album there, it's you're seeking your destruction as a form of enjoyment, is one of the lines that I'm talking about. And that is it. That is 100% of our society. People feel full of fear, full of self-loathing, full of self-doubt and all this stuff, anxiety, and they don't know how to express it. And so they do all this stuff that is completely fucking self-destructive, either eating themselves to death, mangling their bodies, fucking starving themselves to death, all this stupid bull, drinking themselves to death, doing drugs, like, drugging themselves to death. Doesn't matter what it is. All the reason people are so obsessed with escapism, and this is coming from somebody that likes video games and that likes fantasy novels and all this kind of shit. I like the escapism and everything, but I still acknowledge what it is. And why we as a culture, if you notice, the Marvel fucking, what is it? Dude. Whatever, like the biggest movie of all time shit. There's a reason that's the biggest movie of all time. Is because people are obsessed with escapism. They're obsessed with looking at superheroes of figures that have control of their lives and control of the situation, and so they fetishize that. And I don't necessarily mean sexually, but like they fetishize it in the sense that in their head it becomes
like romanticize it, right?
It's romanticized to all get out of, where it's the most. Oh, one day I wonder if I could be like that.
Yes.
Or like, oh, Captain America or something. It's fucking sad, man. When you are literally the only person that controls your life, you have ultimate power has been put into your hands by the very fact that you were born.
Yeah.
You exist in a medium where your will, your fucking thought processes can be brought into physical reality by nothing other than your action.
Yeah.
That is fucking amazing. And rather than teaching children from the time that they're little tiny tots that you literally have the power to do anything in life. And I don't mean we're talking, you can do whatever you want. You could be president of the United States if you want. That's some fucking stupid shit. It's like what they teach kids. But like literally, only you are responsible for you. But also that breaks into the idea of the victimhood mentality. I don't mean to get off topic here, but we're talking about the on some level the fucking race riots across the goddamn country and across the world and all this shit come from people feeling disempowered. I noticed that this is a thing even amongst people in my own family and stuff, because I have black people in my family, not like pre-married type stuff, but just adopted members into my family and shit. And their entire thing is completely antithetical to most of these people I see on the TV, where it's like, there is injustice in this country. There is injustice in this world. However, you want to talk white, black, whatever. We live in the most privileged fucking country in the entire world for the most part, where you can do almost any goddamn thing with just hard work, with just elbow grease, with just like belief in yourself and willing to push through. It doesn't matter what color you are. You can be the richest guy in the fucking country.
Right.
I mean, Jesus Christ, look at Oprah, man. Like, great example of that. And that's the mentality we're talking about of work, be successful. Don't be a fucking loser. Do you realize drug culture and loser culture and stuff? Well, drug culture, loser culture, victim culture, nothing about that is quote unquote black. Nothing about that is minority. Nothing about any of that is any of that. It's all victim loser mentality shit of everyone else needs to be responsible for me. And it's the same shit that goes into the fucking white guilt stuff, man. All these people that like, rather than actually going out and helping people in any of these communities, it's the same shit of like, maybe if I just self-flagellate and fucking apologize for my ancestral crimes that I'll be better. I'm like, come on, man. It becomes the new Christianity of like the new Catholicism. Feel bad because he died for your sins. Sinner.
Yeah, but instead of like root cause stuff, right, and fixing it, like, oh, the system's broke, oh, let's fix it. Let's break up gerrymandering so that one county gets more money in this. Like, if we know what the root cause for systemic racism is, fix it then. If you need to move out, one thing I noticed when I was doing stand-up comedy down in Milwaukee by me was I could see why it would be a food desert. There weren't. On my way to Milwaukee, I would pass 4 grocery stores, 5, 6, like Pick and Save, Piggly Wiggly, each different one, Century, shop, somewhere where you could go and get groceries. Once you're in Milwaukee, though, it's not like that. It was all fast food. It was all corner gas stations, bars, apartment buildings, and stuff like that. It's like, where do people go to get good food or food in general? You know what I mean? So it's like, and then the food option there is Whole Foods. So it's like, okay, can everyone afford that? Or so I can see where they come from, with certain things. But yeah, what do we do to make it better? Like you said, apologizing or this or for previous sins or generations or hundreds of years ago or whatever you want. Move it forward.
You're supposed to do that. Let's say that your great grandpa or your great grandpa, fucking Matty Moses or Matty's von Boner, the fucking
the Baron von Boner.
He did all this terrible stuff, right? He's just the biggest monster in the world. What the fuck does that have to do with you?
Right.
The fuck? Like, come on, man. Are we at the point that we're doing the original sin thing now?
Right.
Because that kind of shit is so ridiculous. The same thing of when, like, imagine if people will say this dumb shit of like, imagine being so privileged that you live in a tiny little American town and then can say that systemic racism doesn't exist. And I'm like, imagine being so myopic. You can only view the fucking problems of police brutality, systemic abuse, and militarization of our country and New World Order stuff through the lens of racism. Because, I mean, think about it. Again, as I brought up his name earlier, Duncan Lemp, or hundreds of fucking white guys that have been murdered by the cops, hundreds of black guys that have been murdered by the cops, Hispanic people, Asian people, Native American people, Middle Eastern people, men, women, old people, young people, pregnant women, any particular group you can come out with there has been fucking killed by the cops on some level. And rather than go, okay, maybe we need to time to go and revamp and look at our drug laws and decriminalize the majority of these drugs. Maybe we need to go and release people from a lot of these prisons, and instead of having an incentivized prison program where we literally have incentive to put people in prisons to do the fucking work camp bullshit that they have of people doing stuff of like pennies on the dollar, but then by the way, you're racking up a bill while you're in jail or in prison or anything like it's fucking outrageous, man. It's the same thing with the profiling. Instead of being like, oh, let's cut out profiling altogether, they're like, no, let's cut down racial profiling. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
We're talking people that
Yeah.
their idea of justice, rather than be like, okay, let's not have agents of the state have the ability to just wantonly murder people. Instead,
Right.
are like, okay, well, let's just make sure those agents of the states that are wantonly murdering people are black. As long as we make sure they're black and they're killing other black people, then
Right.
that solves the fucking problem, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I think
What
is
the
so.
fuck, man?
Yeah, and
Fuck,
that's my first thing too. Like, do you remember what was that one of those videos where it was like a George W. Bush thing, but the guy's yelling like, "Don't tase me, bro!" You know, like what happened to non-lethal ways of stopping people?
I remember that. It was actually not a George W. Bush thing. It was a John Kerry event.
Oh, is that what it was?
remember
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because he asked
Good one,
John
good one.
Kerry about the
Yeah.
fact that he went to the Skull and Bones fraternity along with George
Oh.
W. Bush. And how does that
Okay, I think-
affect the fact that they're running against each other and stuff? Isn't that some sort of conflict of interest?
Oh.
Dude doesn't even answer him, just pulls his fucking ear lobe and shit. And the Secret Service dudes come up behind the guy and start beating the shit out of him and tasering
Yeah.
him. Well, this huge auditorium of people look on and let it happen.
Yeah.
But I you know, at any moment that guy could have just pulled out his white privilege card, right? And
Yeah.
just been like,
Yeah.
"Look, hey, guys, I'm white," and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm
Well,
sorry, sir, you're white."
yeah,
I didn't know.
No, my bad. I didn't mean to tase you. I didn't mean to tase you.
I'm a fucking weed smoker with long hair. I've been harassed by the cops like a motherfucker before it became legal in Washington State. And people are like, check your privilege, whitey. I'm like, yes, I literally live in a fucking a trailer, a literal trailer.
Sure.
And I'm broke as shit, have been broke as shit my entire fucking life.
Yeah.
Have been harassed and shit. Have dealt with fucking cops trying to bust into my fucking house and kill my dogs and shit like that.
Oh, sure,
And
sure.
no, man, it's my privilege. It's all my fucking privilege. It's almost like a bunch of college educated little retards that have no balls themselves and have no life experience. Want to try and talk to you about, hey man, systemic racism is a fucking. It's the same people that bring up, what is it? Your male privilege.
Yeah,
Check your
yeah.
male privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
The
okay.
rape culture people. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. You
Yeah.
raped me with your words. Those are the sort of people we're talking about here.
Yeah. Well,
Dude, I live in Washington, and I'm so fucking
Oh,
disgusted by
sure.
Capitol Hill autonomous zone bullshit.
Yeah.
Watching our governor give up the fucking state. Again, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I think both the parties are a fucking joke. I would, if I had to ascribe myself to a political party, would probably be libertarian.
Sure.
But honestly, I'm an independent, and I think that everybody should be an independent.
Yeah.
Because you vote, if you're going to vote for a person and their ideas and what they have actually done rather
Yeah.
than what they say, but their actions. Vote for them based on that,
Yeah.
not a party line, because party
Right.
line stuff is what gets you Donald Trump versus Joe Biden 2020.
Right. Exactly. No,
It's what got us Hillary versus Trump 2016, which was a fucking bad joke too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I like that point of independent, right? Because then it ties in with free thinker, right? It's like, oh, I'm thinking for myself. I'm independent. Like I'm not, it's like I'm not picking a side. It isn't one thing. I'm not lumped up that way. Humans aren't that way. I'm not all one thing. I'm not
Well,
all
it's the
one
same
thing.
shit when I saw these people jumping out for the fucking contrived protests and shit,
Mhm.
because when they shut down everything in this country, you can attest 100%. There
Yeah.
was a bit of blowback, and people did go and protest and all
Yeah.
this shit completely peacefully.
Yeah.
They had exercised their Second Amendment rights and all this stuff, and people are like, they called them everything from white supremacists to fucking violent radical terrorists and shit that were
Yeah.
trying to, despite the fact that white people, black people, Asian people, Hispanic
Yeah.
people, all this shit during
Yeah.
these protests.
LGBTQ. They had the rainbow flag, and
they're
they're
a danger.
yeah.
Yeah, they're a danger to everything, right? But
Right.
then you have 30,000 people and shit like that, huge, enormous protests that the media endorses, and the CDC says, well, they're not a threat to the country, and they're not a threat to health or public safety or anything. In fact, you should do it. That moment
Yeah.
that I realized the government and all these people are endorsing the fucking protests and they're endorsing all this, it instantly made me decouple myself from it on any level, because I'm 100% a fuck the police kind
Yeah.
of guy, man.
Yeah.
I hate police brutality. I've been covering this for years.
Oh, sure.
But when I saw these motherfuckers assault, do you know who Dan Dix is? He runs, do you know what We Are Change is? He runs Press for Truth. It's the Canadian version of We Are Change. And they fucking assaulted the shit out of this guy at a demonstration in Vancouver that he went to and filmed. This dude has been covering police brutality and is what I would consider a fucking civil rights activist, considering he's been like exposing this shit for like a decade, man. Plus, like since the George W. Bush days, this guy has been exposing police brutality, the police state, New World Orderism, Big Brother stuff, exposing all of this shit, including quote unquote systemic racism. And
Sure.
these motherfuckers accuse him of being from like Fox News and being a racist, and they just start assaulting him.
Oh,
That kind of shit is exactly what triggered me to the moment I realized that this has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. This has nothing, and I mean the idea Black Lives Matter, not
Sure,
some fucking political organization that's literally like
funneling
has,
money
like,
to the
LGBTQ
DNC
rights
or
and all this
something.
shit. Yeah, and it's like Democratic Party mainstream bullshit.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
the number one thing they're money to is Bernie Sanders for president. I'm all this like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? People, yeah, we're helping black people by putting money in the pockets of mainstream white and Jewish politicians. I'm like, what? How the fuck does that help anything, man?
Gosh, yeah. No, I shouldn't be laughing so hard at that, but it's true. That's why it's so funny.
Well, dude, it's true.
Yeah.
And honestly, comedy is truth is one of the best forms of comedy. I think I once told somebody this was during when somebody made a joke about having coronavirus at the airport or whatever, like months ago, and they got arrested, and everybody's like, "You fucking monster!"
Oh, sure.
Even then, as I said, there is nothing worse than having a sense of humor in a country or a world full of humorless cunts. There's nothing worse, dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse because you're like, we try to deal with the situations that are
Yeah.
fucked up with comedy,
Yeah.
right? People that have
totally.
a sense of what they call black humor or whatever.
Yeah.
Just trying to deal with absolutely horrible fucking circumstances, but with whatever means you have. And so you make a joke. Well, other people, you made a joke. Does that mean you're making light of the situation? Like, what the fuck is the alternative? To be like a sourpuss my entire life and be, I'm
Right.
so angry, or I'm so sad on the same shit. Like, dude, it gets fucking old
It
real
does.
fast.
It does.
All these like, self-serious people when you're
Yeah.
walking around at the store and everybody
Yeah.
has a mask on and everyone's looking at you because you don't have a mask on,
Right.
like you're a fucking child molester or something. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Right. Like we
You
should,
know what I'm talking about. They
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
look at you like
yeah.
you're a monster, dude.
Yeah.
Like you just
Yeah.
spit in some old lady's face or some
Yeah.
shit, or like just kicked a child in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and
just, oh my god, you freak.
I almost get I get mixed reviews because like I don't wear one, dude. I've been working this whole time and shopping, gas, so like it doesn't hit me all the way. I'm in a little bit smaller of a town, so I walk in, I don't wear a mask, and everyone that works at the grocery store, it seems like they must have to. That must be what their insurance agency told them to do. And then yes, it's a lot of older people wear masks. And I don't wear them, and some people look at me like maybe they're just jealous, or I don't know, like but it's like, I'm not wearing them. Like,
I've gotten some random thumbs up and shit too, though. From
Yeah,
other
okay.
people who don't wear masks, where they're not wearing a mask, I'm not wearing a mask, and I see them at like fucking Winco or some shit, and it's like, yeah, from like across the aisle, you just look at them like, fuck yeah, man. They're
fighting
like,
the
fuck yeah,
system,
man.
fighting the system. Yeah.
Oh, I saw an article they had today talking about how not wearing a mask is a completely impotent protest and that nobody should be not wearing a mask as a protest. Oh, I'm like, oh, thank you for deciding what forms of protests are okay and what aren't.
Yeah.
How nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that good? You could literally have people rioting and burning shit down, destroying businesses, burning
Yeah.
cars, fucking take over an entire 6 city blocks of the city of fucking Seattle. And hey, man, those are mostly peaceful protests, man. They're righteous. Those guys are doing the Lord's work and all this shit. Yet
Yeah.
people that are peacefully protesting the fucking lockdown are like, those goddamn radical domestic terrorists. Our police need to fucking take up arms against them and all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? But that's almost like this entire thing is political theater. You know what I mean?
for
It's almost
real.
like this entire thing is political theater, and it
Yeah.
feels. I'm not into the Republican or Democrat thing, but it feels like a very demo-centric or Democrat-centric sort of a movement, where it's
Yeah.
like all the states that have this going on are blue states.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it?
Interesting.
It is. Yeah, it's super interesting, and then like maybe that's because they feel like those would be the states more likely to also push and hop on board Black Lives Matter, that concept,
Yep.
where it's like, okay, boom, hop right to, let's go, and yeah, maybe that way, and then
Have you
it
seen any of
looks
this
more
shit with
powerful.
these Antifa douchebags.
Yeah, right.
God.
Yeah.
The idea of anti-fascists. Dude, I have family members that fought in fucking World War II. You want to talk about anti-fascists, then at least throw somebody up like that. When
Right,
these
right.
cocksuckers are tearing down World War II memorials and defacing it, one of the ones they destroyed was, and like fucked up, was a World War II memorial for like one of the first black regiments in like the Marines. And these motherfuckers, like, fuck
Yeah.
the police and all this.
Yeah.
Painting all, I'm like, what?
It's like the
What
54th.
the fuck?
Yeah, the
man?
54th Regiment or something like that. I thought I saw something like that. Yeah, I was like, what you doing?
Yeah,
You
dude.
guys,
World War II memorials torn down and fucked up by quote unquote anti-fascists, people that are literally straight up card carrying, flag waving fucking communists in my goddamn country telling me about all this shit. Look, dude, I'm not somebody that normally has the fucking whole divide thing of fascist, communist, and all this shit, but straight up, I happen to know that the fascists most of these people are chasing are ghosts. They don't exist. It's the
Sure.
same thing with when you talk about the mainstream media will talk about like the white supremacists everywhere. Most of what they're talking about are ghosts. They're people that don't exist. They're
Right.
fighting phantoms, dude. Like
Yeah.
there are racists in the country. There are Klansmen in this country. They're a
Sure.
fucking tiny little nothing of a percentage of people. And yet it's the biggest deal in the world. Same thing with those fascists, right?
Right,
Despite
right.
the fact motherfuckers literally will call you a fascist for just being somebody that disagrees with them. For being
Yeah.
a Dan Dix from Press for Truth, being like, why are you guys out here protesting whatnot? What does this have to do with capitalism? And then they're like, you fucking fascist, and trying to like punch him in the face. Like,
Right.
come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah.
I personally have a major hard-on against communism. Always have,
Sure.
because of knowing people personally that have fled from the former Soviet Union.
Oh, okay.
They impressed it upon me that it's pretty fucking important that I resist that, and that
Yeah.
everyone resists that, because they've got to see what happens when people don't resist that. Same thing with knowing Cuban migrants and shit that moved to this
Sure.
country legally
Sure.
during the fucking the big purges and shit
Okay.
in Cuba back in the day, in like the 1980s and 90s. And every last one of these people always, like, for some reason have this idea of Hispanic people as being very pro-socialist, very left-wing, pro-democrat type stuff.
Mhm.
Nah, dude. Most of the Cuban people I've met are not at all, are very, very pro-right-wing, very pro-capitalism, very anti-communism. Almost like
Sure.
that's why their fucking families fled Cuba in the first place. But again,
Yeah.
they should tell those people that communism they fled from wasn't real communism. This time will be different type shit. I
Yeah.
don't fucking buy it, man. I don't buy it. It feels like a political coup d'etat happening in our country right now. And I'm sorry to get off track. It's just
No,
this
you're
is the
good.
shit that's going on right now.
You're
and that
good.
I'm seeing all over
I
the
love
place.
it.
So it's
No.
what we're talking about.
Yeah. My computer just fired something else up,
Yeah.
which was another Google Hangout. So I'm trying to make sure it won't mess this up.
Not fucking with us.
No, yeah. Okay, so here, Traveler Montgomery is in chat. So is Eric Dubay. Show some love that way. Thanks for popping in, Dot Connector. But Time Traveler had a couple questions, and he's been one to suggest a lot of and recommend a lot of Music Matters people. So love for him. But so he was asking about psilocybin shrooms, or your idea of peyote legalization in Denver, Colorado, and Oakland, California. So he's two
Totally a
questions
fan.
kind of tied in. Yeah, okay. And
Totally a fan. Totally think all of it needs to be legalized, or rather
yes,
decriminalized.
decriminalized. That's
preferably.
how yeah. See, that's how I feel about it too. Is decriminalized. Legalized is you'll be selling it in a gas station, right? It'll be, but decriminalized is just people. Yeah, it's like people don't need to go to jail because
Isn't it weird that Virginia, of all fucking states, is the one that gets it right and decriminalizes it? Isn't
Yeah.
that so weird?
Yeah.
It's a state that I would never want to visit ever, that I don't hold values similar to like 90% of the people that fucking live there. Except that one. Except that one.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to
Anyway.
look into that a little bit more. That's really interesting. That but
as far as
I think it's a start.
mushrooms and peyote- yeah, as far as mushrooms, peyote, psychedelics in general, I definitely think need to be decriminalized as much. But I also feel that way even about drugs that I've never taken, I have no interest in taking, like hard drugs and shit like that, that I
Sure.
think are a fucking problem in the community and shit,
Yeah.
that I still think should be decriminalized, because you create a black market by having it be illegal. And even if
Yes.
you were to legalize it, I don't think the state has any business being involved in anybody's personal habits. Doesn't matter
Well-
if we're talking cigarettes, alcohol, whatever.
That's another thing too, right? If they truly cared about our health, cigarettes would be illegal, and that's not what it is. You know what I mean? So they pick and choose.
Yeah.
It's which is so
Oh,
weird,
exactly.
you
Because
know?
they pick and choose what they can make the most money off of, what's the most politically advantageous. It's the same shit out here in Washington. They convinced everybody that legalized gambling and slot machines and all this needed to be a fucking thing,
Yeah.
and the scratch tickets and all that, lotto tickets needed to be a thing because we'd have money for the schools and all that. It never stops, dude. It never stops. There is no enough money for the schools. It's the same reason why it's so duplicitous when people put out this shit talking about how defund the police is so radical. Why aren't you saying that it's radical when they talk about defund education? I'm like, dude, honestly, they should defund education, because the government run education system is a fucking joke. It has led to indoctrinated
Yeah.
people that are some of the most ignorant in the entire world. We're like
Right.
something like 40th in terms of mathematics worldwide. These
Yeah.
are the motherfuckers that are going to tell me
Yeah.
how the government needs to be involved in this, that, and the other. Like,
Yeah. And I stumbled upon a math video, and this guy broke down the math how to do multiplication so much easier than I was ever shown. He's just like, boom, you cross like this way. He's like, oh, this is how the
yeah, now
Egyptians.
Common Core is a bad joke.
No. It was
Because now the new map, the new
yeah,
map
all the
is
new
fucking
math, the Common
horrible,
Core.
dude.
Oh, dude, we could have had an entire another verse of Common Core for that conventional education song, which it was awesome having you on that one too. Like that's one of those ones where like you
I
could
think
keep
DMO is
going.
fucking amazing, man. Yeah, I would love to rap with DMO again sometime. I think
Okay.
he is really, really, really solid.
Oh, good shit. Dude, he's gonna love hearing that too, because yeah.
But let's see what is it. On the psychedelics tip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have always really liked mushrooms. The first time I did them as a teenager and everything, I probably done them like over 20 plus times. There reaches a point when you've done something enough, you stop counting because it doesn't fucking matter, and you realize it's the experiences, not the number of times I've done it. So it's not like about like flexing nuts on somebody else or whatever. I am the mushroom master, or whatever. Because if you realize how childish that is in the first place, with any of that, I will say. Like salvia is a lot more hardcore. I wouldn't suggest that for most people, but at the same time, if you want like the experience that you've always been promised of what psychedelics are supposed to be like in most people's depictions of psychedelics in media, I'd say salvia is the closest you're ever going to get, man.
Okay.
Because like people depict magic mushrooms as some shit like the goddamn what is it, Tenacious D and Pick a Destiny type stuff.
Oh, sure.
Of like everything becomes cartoon land or whatever. Like I haven't had any experience even close to that except for salvia. So I'll say like straight up that one is it's intense though. It's like everything hits you of an entire 10-hour mushroom trip, but instead condensed into like 2 to 5 minutes.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. So like fucking intense, like you're on a rocket ship flying through fucking inner space, man. It's it's intense. But I would definitely recommend that kind of stuff for anybody that's interested in self-exploration, because I really think self-exploration and self-reflection are some of the most important things in our entire lives that we supposedly never have time for. And this goes beyond psychedelics too. I think meditation and spending time alone in silence is really, really, really important. Reflecting upon reflection, thinking about thoughts, that kind of stuff is super important. Also finding your inner silence inside, like your core or whatever you want to say, and just being okay with that. I know I talk a lot and shit, but that's also because like there's only so much time we have to put out so much fucking information. So I'm a chatty Cathy like a motherfucker.
Oh, that's good, man. I love it. That's what this is about.
But let's see what else. You got any other questions here?
This one we've touched on it too, but like as far as new normal, what do you think will stick around? Do you think like masks, like?
I think all of it's going to stick around, man, because their new normal never goes. It's the 9/11 thing. And this is before I was even politically awake or anything. I remember everyone in my life telling me that the 9/11 stuff, this isn't going to go away. This isn't going to go away because any of the other shit in the 90s that they brought out on people never went away. The stuff they brought out in the 80s on people never went away. It's just the police state gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it never retracts without violence on the part of the people. And I don't say that as somebody that to endorse violence or some shit. I'm just telling you as a fact. Unless you're willing to wrest control away from them, like in a bloody fucking struggle, you ain't getting it back. You ain't getting it back. None of us are getting it back. And it's one of those things that people with all this fucking protesting in the streets and shit, it really frustrates me, is because y'all weren't willing to stand with me when it was police brutality. Y'all weren't willing to stand with me when it was government overreach. Y'all weren't willing to stand with me when it was people murdered in their own fucking houses by the cops. Y'all weren't willing to stand with me for Miriam Carey, a black woman murdered by fucking DC police in front of her child in a parked car. Y'all weren't willing to stand with me for that. Weren't willing to stand with me for the fucking Patriot Act stuff, for the fucking Obama droning, for any of this shit. But now, out of nowhere, y'all stand. It's the sleeping giant meme of like the Shaq thing of like, I sleep. Then all of a sudden, George Floyd killed by police. Real shit. And everybody's tense and on it. And it's just, it feels contrived. And I doubt that any of it's going to go anywhere, especially when you notice most of the people at these fucking protests are wearing masks. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me until I do the stuff that you tell me.
You tell me. Yeah, it's so true too. And it's like and masks. Like I went to Vegas, and you know, a sprinkle of people before all this, you know, Asian people had masks. You know, so because
it's been a huge thing in China. They literally said China is the model that we're basing all of this off of for now into the future. China. What more do I need to say? As somebody that's fucking informed about police state stuff, China's the last fucking place that we should be emulating. But America,
Right. As long as we call ourselves America, no matter what we implement, it'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Dot connectors. Well, time traveler. I'll go through a little bit of this. 10 years ago, I watched Tenacious D. It was crazy. Jordan Peterson explained psilocybin pretty good. Dot connectors saying the problem and the solution is the law and banking system.
Yeah.
These are revert back to the founding fathers, common law from the enslavement system, maritime admiralty law. Those are good. Yeah. Good comments.
Honestly, I feel like that needs to be a foundation for most people's awakening. Unfortunately, it's not, but it really needs to be. But I'd say that all of that still comes as a consequence of people understanding their place in the universe and the thing of like the you matter thing.
Yeah.
When you get that to somebody's core and they feel like they have value as a person and that other people around them have value just by the very nature of them existing. I'm not going to get on the whole vegetarian or vegan tip with you of like animals and stuff, but that is part of it, man.
I agree.
I feel like
I agree.
Being consistent on that sort of a tip of the non-aggression principle of do unto others as you would have others do unto you, that kind of stuff is what we build on as a people. And if we can't build on that, then what is anything that we've built worth? Our entire society, we can have fucking tubes that get people around and transport people, and we just have tubes that everyone flies in and travels through and stuff. It doesn't change what people are going through. It's kind of like that cheesy ass song from back in the day from oh my god, what's his name, the guy that does Angel Dust and all that, the Whitey on the Moon. You ever heard that?
No,
because like I just got my light bill and stuff. They just turned off my lights. I got money for Whitey on the Moon. It's fucking amazing. But it's Gil Scott Heron, I think is the guy's name.
Yeah,
but
Scott
it's like
Heron.
That sort of
I just found it. Yeah, Gil Scott Heron, Whitey on the Moon. Yep.
Because we can have, he's the revolution will not be televised guy. He has some great type music there, very politically expedient type shit. But the Whitey on the Moon thing, obviously, I'm as a flat earther and stuff don't roll with the whole moon landing thing. But it is the idea that still rings true of they have money for this kind of bullshit. They have money to waste on their fakey fucking rocket crap. They have money to waste on their bombs overseas, killing motherfuckers all around the rest of the world. They have money for their aircraft carriers. They have money for their bullshit government-run medicine and their fucking programs and everything. But they don't have money for you or me, just a working class person trying to make ends meet and trying to keep their head above water. We don't have some giant fund for us and all this shit.
Right.
But their government pork, as they'd call it, their excess bullshit, they have more than enough money and more than enough time for. I mean, would it matter even if all of their space ball bullshit was real? Would it matter that people, oh yeah, we're going to colonize the moon and Mars and all this stuff, if people are still starving to death in the fucking streets here and we're literally living in like absolutely fucking third world country conditions and shit? This isn't America, man. And we're literally probably one of the richest, most like profitable, prosperous nations on earth. And most people I know still live like shit here, dude. Right. Especially compared to how they lived when I was a kid. You're older than me, so you probably get it, man.
Yeah,
when you were a
totally.
Kid, people lived in a lot fucking better conditions than they do now. Talking to people like my dad or like my aunt or uncle or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. It's sad because people used to live like, dude, in the 1970s, the shit that now costs several dollars costs in the cents. They're like, oh yeah, you want like a 25 cents for this soda or whatever. Now that same can of soda costs like fucking $2.25 or some shit. And it's like, what? People are like, everything's getting better. Everything's getting better. And I'm like, inflation can't get higher and debt can't get higher and things are getting better. That's not how a logical progression works. But you know, people are weird, man.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm trying to find I want to find it. Eric Dubé made a really nice comment too about vegan voluntarism is the only way not to violate the non-aggression principle.
Agreed. And 100% agreed. I try not to get that on most people though, because of people associate with this idea of the preachy vegan type thing. But at the same time, I get where he's coming from, and I'll always give Eric mad respect for that. He's literally the person that woke me up to all this shit, and he's fucking changed my life, dude. Changed my fucking life. It's the thing of just having compassion for other beings, and it's something that I felt already for certain animals, and then I just realized it's why do I feel it for certain animals and not
Agenda
all
21 is a social
and then
engineering
especially with the idea of if consciousness is one and we're all one, than when we're killing and eating all this other stuff and exploiting it and fucking trapping it in cages and fucking like milking it and taking it away from its babies and stuff like that. All that kind of shit is horrible. It's fucking barbaric. And we're doing that to ourselves. So of course we live in a culture where people are absolute fucking monsters. We've been treating other creatures in monstrous conditions and in monstrous ways for millennia.
Right.
Millennia at least.
Yeah, and I really like the quote, and you'll know it better than I do, but it's or Eric can chime in too, but it's like as long as there are it has to do with animals too, like as long as there are like some kind of farms for that, that there will be battlefields. So it's like as long as there's slaughterhouses, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefield. It's something like that, So it's like I mean it really opens my eyes, and I'm trying to be more conscious about the choices I make for as far as meat and stuff like that too. Yeah, but it's definitely opened my eyes. Yeah, Eric's opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and it's great. Between Eric, ODD TV, and your music, which is why we're doing this interview. You have an impact on me too. And it's great to see that people can make music that they care about. And Eric was another one too, where he was making the music, and it was like, hell yeah, he's got a powerful message. So it's cool to see that we can do it. Better
at rapping as time's gone on, man. From the first raps that I've heard him put down, none of it's bad by any means. None of it's bad, but he has gotten so much better over time. But that's kind of, I feel like, how we all go. You've gotten better over time. I've gotten better over time. It's just gaining experience and stuff. And I think that's really, really cool to see, but more importantly, of people doing stuff that matters to them. It's like I said to you earlier, I would rather hear music that shows to me a piece of your soul, of who you are as a person and what is truly important in your life and what you go through as an experience and stuff, than just this banal bullshit. Because there are banalities of just more and more banalities of just the same old crap that you think I want to hear. I don't want to hear what I want to hear. I want to hear what you want to say. I think that's one of the most important things with music, and which art in general. And banalities have created this idea of everybody trying to not rock the boat in anything. And that's one thing that I totally get with Eric with the with vegan activism and everything and animal rights activism, is it does rock the boat 100%. And I fucking love it because it calls you into an accountability. It's I once described this as it's a feeling when you actually feel it, the self-accusing spirit like looks inward, right? It looks 100% inward at what you're doing, what your actions are, what kind of person you are, and your inconsistencies, and it calls them out. It's the best way I could describe it. Is it feels like being a kid with your hand in the cookie jar and you've just been caught, and it's something that you're not supposed to be doing, but you did it anyways. Well, the majority of people, rather than go, oh, what I'm doing is wrong, I need to not, instead go, so, and that's why I feel like they make all the jokes about the vegan or vegetarian activists and stuff like that, of like, oh, hey, vegetarians, I saw a deer in the yard. It was eating your grass, so I shot it.
Right.
Like, it feels like making really, really shitty fucking jokes in order to try and make yourself feel comfortable about the absolutely abhorrent behavior you're engaged in.
Right. No, that's so true. Or like, oh, but bacon though, it's like, okay, so you're not really challenging yourself or the thought. You don't have like a
rebuttal. Do you not think I like the taste of
punchline? Right?
Do you not think Eric liked the taste of meat when he ate meat? Do you not think any motherfucker that's ever given up meat has not liked the taste of meat when they gave it up? Like,
right.
It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the moral considerations and the health considerations. I try and convince people when it comes to giving up meat and then giving up dairy and all this kind of stuff, specifically going along the lines of monetary cost, because this is just between you and I understand the average person trying to make a moral argument to completely immoral people will almost always fall flat. Almost always, because most people will not be moralized by you or by anything that you say. So trying the angle of as a vegetarian or a vegan, your like bills when it comes to grocery bill will fucking shrink exponentially. Like huge. Meat is crazy expensive. Dairy and stuff are crazy expensive. But also then from the aspect of moral considerations. And that personally for me was the big one, was moral considerations more than also health. I'll use health considerations for other people of trying to convince them and everything like that, because it is healthier. They can't argue that. They literally cannot argue that. And that's the kind of shit I'll use to try and convince them. But the moral arguments to me are the most important. And it's something that I remember discussing with my fiance about when somebody's like, oh, but if you don't eat meat, you die or whatever. Because
Sure.
we're fucking dumb. If you don't eat meat, you'll die. I'm like, bro, you're going to die regardless.
Yeah.
You realize life is the number one fucking, what would they call it? Terminal condition.
Sure.
Life is terminal, bro.
Yeah.
You'll
Right.
die.
Gonna die.
That's how existence works, right?
Yeah. For
But
real.
it's like motherfuckers are convinced that if they continue eating corpses, somehow they'll conquer death. And it's like, it's not
Right.
how it works, man. But the moral considerations are so important that even if somehow that was the only way to live, I'd still die. I would literally rather die from fucking not being a monster than to be a monster. Also, specifically,
Sure.
as somebody that believes violence against others is wrong
Yeah.
and imposing my will against others by force is wrong. The fuck am I going to have like this hypocritical stance where all of a sudden, oh, but they're just animals though. They don't fucking matter.
Right.
Especially if you've ever looked in the eyes of a creature, and I don't care if we're talking a dog, a cat, a cow, a rat, a bird, whatever, and you see that spark of humanity, that spark of life, of consciousness,
Yeah.
of thought pattern that goes into it,
Yeah.
of seeing acts of kindness that can be committed by an animal, stuff that in quote unquote nature, in the way that we describe an immoral or amoral nature, rather,
Mhm.
it wouldn't make sense. Why does the cat befriend the fucking rat sometimes? Why is there things of, just shit
Sure.
like that we're convinced in all these different ways that animals are just, they're just animals. People are acting like animals and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Animals honestly act way fucking better than people.
Yeah.
The majority of them. I don't remember the last time the fucking rats tore down their entire fucking city. I don't remember the last time the dog was purposely going out of his way to genocide the other fucking groups of dogs and shit. You feel me?
Yeah. No, for sure. I was thinking that too. Like a lion just slaughtering all the antelope that they find. It's like they're
Just
they're
because
just-
those goddamn antelope.
yeah, they're
Like,
just trying to eat, man. I'm hungry, dog. Thinking about
Or then people be like, but then animals eat meat too. And then I'm like, look at their teeth versus ours, bro.
Yeah. They're leaving out a very key part is raw meat. You know what I mean? They're not cooking it over a campfire and like salt, pepper, garlic, a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I see those points. And
Watching the carnivore activists or the
that
carnivore
was
activists, some of the roughest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The raw meat diet, watching one of these
Yeah.
guys try and eat a roadkill rabbit is some of the
Yeah.
funniest shit, but also some of the saddest shit. Because I'm like, oh, that's really unfortunate. But at the same time, watching this dumb fuck try and tear at illustrating everything people have been saying this entire time as he tries to tear at this raw meat, like,
Yeah.
because it's not going to happen because your teeth aren't designed to fucking tear flesh. They're designed to cut through fruit. They're
Right.
designed to smash fruit and crush grains.
Yeah.
Literally, your back teeth are made to crush grains and seeds.
Yeah.
100%. Your
Yeah.
front teeth and all are meant to tear into the flesh of fruits, not animal flesh, which is like way fucking tougher and nastier. And it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
Yeah. And Eric's dropping just tons of knowledge in the chat too. It's about health, ethics, and the environment. Only 30% of animals eat meat.
Yeah.
The rest are herbivore, frugivore. So I mean, like, that's a really crucial point. 30. Yeah. It's really interesting. I think there's a lot of information there.
That are vegetarians, if you're promoting the mainstream dairy industry, be it eggs or milk, those still absolutely are factory farms that fucking destroy the environment.
Yeah.
100%. You can't argue that shit, man. And it's the same thing with the cattle farms or the pig ranches and pig farms and stuff. Those things are horrifically bad for the environment. And I mean, it's not to say that if they just instantly started growing vegetables there instead, everything would be better, because monocultures are a problem amongst mainstream plant gardening and plant farming and stuff in general.
Yeah.
But it's the sort of stuff that if we take it seriously, we don't monoculture plant stuff everywhere, and we make a particular point about making sure there are no food deserts, our population isn't overpopulated, man. You probably heard the thing of that the entire world population could live in the state of Texas with a half acre of land between them.
Right.
That instantly is proof we're not overpopulated.
Yeah.
We're living in shitty, unsustainable culture.
Yeah.
An idea, society that is fucking based upon total falsehood information, misinformation rather.
Yeah.
And people that refuse to change because it's easier to escape culpability. It's easier to pawn off self-responsibility to somebody else because you're a victim of the circumstances. Well, I mean, I can't change. I can't do this. I can't pull myself up by my bootstraps. I can't do whatever because there'll always be somebody else. But that's in America, especially. I'm sure in other countries it's a little bit different. But I know that here, and you can probably back me up on this one, is most people are fucking absolutely lacking in self-responsibility. Even people that are like quote unquote on the right side of the political spectrum or anything like that will abdicate personal responsibility the second it's convenient or inconvenient to have personal responsibility.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I agree. Those are.
Let's see. We got any more comments?
Those are
or
really strengths. No, I think that's really good. I don't know if you have any finishing touches. You know, we can wrap it up. I got a missed phone call from the wife, so this will be perfect timing.
Right on. Well, if anybody else got any questions or anything, that's great. But otherwise, honestly, just be good to each other. I've said this to people before, but one of my favorite George Orwell quotes is the never forget to be human. One of the most important things during like authoritarian regime changes and stuff, exactly like what happens in the book 1984, is to not forget to be human. I actually put that in a song. Don't forget to be human, even if the world isn't. Or remember to be human even if the world isn't, because people will act inhuman. People will act monstrous to one another because of fear, anger, whatever. But just remember, be a fucking human, man. Show compassion to people, show love to people. And I know people act like that's so cheesy and lame and stuff. It's why I had a couple songs on the new album of like love songs and stuff. One of them is literally dedicated to my fiance and shit. Changed my fucking life, man. But beautiful. That kind of shit I feel is super important because it helps expand as a person, and it's the sort of stuff that other people need too, because realizing that like tenderness and being able to expose vulnerability to other people illustrates to them that they can be vulnerable with other people too, instead of this contrived, especially in rap music, you know what I'm talking about, this contrived hardness of like, everybody's gotta be hard, I gotta be hard, I gotta be hard, I can't be soft, love is for fags and simps.
right.
It's all shit that we need to just in general learn to love each other, learn to love the world around us, and learn to love life, man, because it ain't gonna fucking, this incarnation ain't gonna last forever. Life does last forever. You're gonna have to learn to love it fucking eventually, but it's nobody's gonna make it out of here alive. Nobody's escaping this physical incarnation alive. So enjoy it while it lasts, man. Enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy good music. Try and find anything you can. If you want to try and find my YouTube channel, you can find it at Seth Davis, or what is it? Smoke Conscious Hip Hop, but the channel name itself is Seth Davis.
Yeah, and I'll drop a link one more time too for people.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. That way too, as people go through it.
But other than that, definitely check out my album with Eric Dubé, Spirit Level. Check out the songs I've done with Mr. Matty Moses here. Anything like that you want to check out. If you want more of like me talking on some shit.
Oh, sure.
I do shows occasionally or podcasts occasionally with this guy named Scott that runs a show called Truth Sentinel.
Okay.
And it's Truth Sentinel with Scott. He does some really, really awesome work. I've been like working with him since before and doing like a podcast with him since before I started doing rap music. And for the longest time, he had no idea I did rap. So it was really cool to finally expose that to him and shit. But I've got some backlog episodes of Too Real News on YouTube if you want to look up that or anything like that.
Nice.
Just anything, man. I did a bunch of shows with Pete Wickert from Truth is Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay.
And so there's some of those too, but a lot of that's more like impromptu, informal type shit. But other than that, check out the music and keep subscribed to Matty Moses and check out new videos from him every day or every couple days. It seems like he's got something out there. So definitely turn on that notifications bell, man.
Thanks so much, man. And this is great spending the time together. And you know, we can always do another one of these too, as the questions come up and time allows. You know,
questions and stuff too, and actually do a similar thing, but for an interview for you, because I'd like to hear a lot of more of what your influences are and what kind of brought you to your particular awakening and stuff. I think that's really, really cool.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I really appreciate that. That's so awesome. Yeah, we'll make something happen. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks to Chad, everyone that came out, Time Traveler Montgomery, Eric Dubé, tons of love, and I missed a couple other people, but yeah. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day and have a good one.
All right. Peace, man.
Peace.